For Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated, I'm Brendan Gulick, and welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Ohio State Buckeyes, where we have more breaking news tonight, as Ohio State apparently wasn't done with just Paul Rhoads, adding him as a defensive analyst for the 2021 season. But in addition to that, they apparently have added an offensive analyst and replaced Ryan Stamper. And so the news that continues to come out tonight, Todd Fitch, who is a longtime college football coach, frankly, in a lot of ways, his resume just on the surface level at the 10,000-foot view, it looks pretty similar to the same resume we saw from Paul Rhoads. He's been all over the country for 30 years, coaching at a lot of different places, and most notably, he was at Vanderbilt most recently. He was the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach at Vandy, and was the interim head coach for the last game of the season for the Commodores when Derek Mason was not retained. I guess technically he was fired, right? And then I guess the correct verbiage would be that Todd Fitch was not retained. So he was let go and looking for an opportunity. And Ryan Day, who has worked with Todd Fitch before when they were together at Boston College, they both worked on the offensive side of the ball. Coach Day was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And Todd Fitch was working with the wide receivers, and he was the passing game coordinator, and they worked very closely together there and have maintained a good relationship. And this has turned into a good opportunity for the Buckeyes to add another set of veteran, experienced eyes, a guy who's been all over the country. And take a listen here, some of the places he's been. Vanderbilt, Louisiana Tech, Boston College, South Florida, East Carolina, Iowa State, South Carolina, UConn, Colorado State, Bowling Green, and West Virginia, dating all the way back to 1989. I mean, he's been around football for an awfully long time. It's a guy that certainly understands the nature of what Ohio State football is all about, because while he was born in the state up north, he and his family moved to Central Ohio when he was young, and he graduated both from high school at Belair High School and then went to college at Ohio Wesleyan University. So he certainly knows the passion and tradition of football in Ohio, and with his relationship with Coach Day and the offensive staff, now another guy that, as an analyst, not as a full-time coaching staff on the field member, he's not going to occupy a role like that, but just as an offensive analyst, another set of eyes to help game plan and perhaps help develop some of this talent and see what the Ohio State Buckeyes can do in 2021. So looking forward to seeing what Todd Fitch has in store for Ohio State football this year. And he was actually I guess it was somewhat concurrent, although the way the news cycle really hit it sounded more like CJ Barnett was added, and that news came out just before Todd Fitch's news was made public. But CJ Barnett, who is obviously a former Buckeye and somebody that Ohio State football fans are certainly familiar with, he is the new Ryan Stamper, if you will. And again, that's a really important role in Ohio State's program. That news was first reported by Buckeye Scoop. CJ Barnett's going to take over for Stamper, who is the only member of the Ohio State football staff that left with Urban Meyer to go down to Jacksonville. Ryan Stamper's official title was Director of Player Development, and perhaps his most notable impression on the program, I'm sure you've heard about it by now because it feels like we've talked about it ad nauseum, but the Real Life Wednesdays program that he instituted with Ohio State football, that was basically about developing players for their lives after football and getting them ready to make sure they understand what the real world is going to look like. It's pretty aptly named, Real Life Wednesdays. It's a program that once a week helps guys with resume writing and job fair skills and some networking. Typically, a job fair at the end of the semester that brings somewhere between 50 and 75 local businesses in. I know there was a speaker series as part of that. So really, one of the things I think that is unique and cool about Ohio State football, in a role that Ryan Stamper really thrived in. And now CJ Barnett, who is obviously a former Buckeye captain, someone that played extremely well when he was a safety back in 2009 to 2013, played all 4 years, but was a 3-year starter. He led the team in tackles in 2011, and I think he had 8 career interceptions as well. But someone that understands, the nature and the commitment and the real life of what Ohio State football is, and he lives and breathes it. And this is a really important hire for Ryan Day. Again, not a guy that's going to be on the sidelines, not a guy whose name you're going to hear on Saturdays very often, but a really important piece of the program is Ohio State. You think about the recruiting angle and the development of, trying to make sure that once players are in Columbus, that they're getting the most out of their experience. Somebody who occupies the role that now CJ Barnett has is really going to help make or break the experience for a lot of these guys while they're in Columbus. The vast majority of players that are going to play for the Buckeyes are not going to play in the NFL, although there certainly are quite a few that will. And what's life going to look like even for the ones that do play in the NFL? The average lifespan of an NFL football player is roughly 3 years. There's going to come a day where football is no longer a part of the daily grind. And so, helping guys make the most of their time with arguably the biggest brand in college athletics, Ohio State University, and trying to maximize, the opportunities those young men have when they're in college to just learn what they need to learn about business and life and making sure they're off on the right foot. I think it's a great program. It's one of the things I most enjoy about Ohio State football, and I get the vibe that a lot of you do too. So CJ Barnett going to occupy a really important role there. And then Todd Fitch on the offensive side as an analyst. He and Ryan Day certainly are simpatico, right? He wouldn't be here if he wasn't. So that's another good addition too. So 3 coaching staff additions within just a couple hours stretch. Again, none of these have been confirmed by the university, although all three of those men, their names are in the official Ohio State University employee portal. And it's being widely reported now, so feel pretty comfortable that those 3 men will be a part of Ohio State football moving forward. We've got coverage on all 3 of those guys on BuckeyesNow.com, and certainly hope if you're watching, whether you're on Periscope here or on YouTube, we really appreciate if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots of really good content. We talk a lot of Ohio State football and hoops, and certainly stream all of the live press conferences as well, so you can hear directly from Ryan Day and Chris Holtmann when those guys address the media before and after their games, during their weekly press conferences, all that. So please follow us on YouTube and check out our latest over on Buckeyes Now. Again, I'm Brendan Gulick, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Hopefully there's more good news for the Buckeyes here in the near future.